Hi, I'm Joshua Atkins. I'm a portrait and documentary photographer from Kent.
Hello, my name is Karen Glykys. I'm a mixed media artist. I'm London born, but now I'm Kent based and I live in Maidstone.
I'm Matilda Sutton and I make paintings and drawings, small objects and sometimes textile pieces.
My name is Wright and I'm here in my studio at Cast, Cornwall. I have 3 pieces exhibited at Turner Contemporary, 2 paintings and a life-size sculpture.
So when I was younger, my granddad bought me a point-and-shoot camera that I used to take with me everywhere for family camping trips, visits to the zoo. I was kind of always drawn to capturing those exciting moments.
I started my art practice in 2017. I got an O-level in art about 100 years ago, but then I didn't really pick it up again until quite late in life. I don't work now, I just completely dedicate all my time to my art practice and my art career.
It's kind of just always what I've done, not necessarily painting. I've always just made things from when I was very little. Spent a lot of time just making things out of cardboard boxes and pretending to be an animal and stuff, so I've kind of carried on doing the same thing.
I created 10 of these sculptures for a project called Future Forest, which was to commemorate the centenary of the Forestry Commission England in 2019. This project was a realisation of some of the paintings that I've been making to kind of realise them from 2D into 3D. But in order to do that, I had to kind of jump through a number of hoops, one of which was to actually make life-size maquettes from which the more durable eco-resin forms could be made. And I thought it might be quite interesting to show you one of these. It's actually, as you can tell, incredibly light, and it's made out of newspaper and packing tape around a really simple armature. And I found it a really useful and malleable material to quickly be able to, relatively quickly be able to create these figures. Then they were encased in the eco-resin and reassembled for me to kind of paint on almost like a 3-dimensional canvas.
I'm here today about my piece here, which is called Going Back to the Garden, and we're in a Turner Contemporary for the Turner Open 2021. This is a piece of phone art and it's created on my phone using free Android apps, only no Mac PC, and all the magic comes from my fingers. All of this work sits under the hashtag TinyEye project because it's created through a tiny eye on my phone and on a tiny screen, and the only time it ever sees a PC is at the printers to be checked for RGB and, you know, obviously sized up for printing.
Yeah, so the images at the Turner currently are part of a collaborative project that I'm shooting with another photographer, Daniel Loveday. We are documenting the people and scenes that we see in Chatham High Street. We sort of wander up and down, meet people, take their portrait. But yeah, it's an ongoing series that we're working on. So it started as an opportunity to get out after lockdown, to make some portraits and sort of get back into the frame of shooting. But after a couple of trips, we kind of realised that we were making some important images and we're capturing something that we needed to continue working on.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd describe it as kind of, I'm attempting at like storytelling with images and objects. And a lot of my recent work focuses on these sort of hairy women creatures. And the 2 pieces in Turner Contemporary are Piss Pot and What Is This? And they're 2 of these kind of creatures in different stances and scenes. Yeah, I think I actually started doing the hairy women because I started making these drawings that were inspired by a Margaret Atwood book called Surfacing, where the protagonist sort of ends up going into the woods naked and grows a load of fur and just sort of lives off foraging berries and things. And then I sort of was making these works around this sort of wolf woman figure from that. And I kind of left that for a while. And then at some point in my degree, I was looking at making work about, kind of inspired by like post-humanist ideas and thinking about how we place ourselves as a species with other animals. And I kind of picked up those characters again, and it sort of progressed to the work I make now.
I can't really say that I've got like a definitive list of artists or photographers that really inspire me, because I've got very eclectic tastes and I've got a really wide span of reference points. So, you know, I think, you know, as we all grow and change, our tastes grow and change with us, and so do the images that we surround ourselves with and the soundtracks to our lives. So, for me, art and music is like you're going into a sweet shop. It's like candy and you just want to taste it all. And so I might really be into Lempicka or, you know, someone like Werner Butner, for instance, the creator of Bad Art, for a little while. And then I might just pop off and really be indulging in Leonore Feeney or Tracy Emin or something for a while. So, I'm quite, with my photography, influenced by people like Cindy Sherman. I love the artist Jean Semmel. I mean, she really was kind of the selfie queen. Obviously, you know, her early portraits of herself naked with her camera are kind of like, here comes the selfie, but they're about 20 years before.
I really love Matisse, especially his cutouts. I used to read about him being practically bedbound and making some of the most iconic work. It feels like a really important reality check if I'm not feeling up to it for a day.
I think the big main one, which is probably really apparent in my work, is Kiki Smith and her sort of exploration of the female body and of other animals and humans and their relationship. Also people like Louise Bourgeois, obviously, and other kind of like female surrealists like Dorothea Tanning and Leonora Carrington. I kind of just want to be maintaining a good kind of connection with my practice and making ambitious work. Not necessarily in size, but in kind of depth and potentially sort of developing some of the techniques and processes I'm using as well.
Going forward, once this wraps, I've got a show coming up at the Barge House at the Oxo Tower Wharf in London, which is really cool. That's on private view on 23rd of February, and it runs for a week.
Dan and I are currently in conversation about doing a full exhibition of this work. It's really exciting to be able to work on something like this with someone else and sort of bringing both our experiences into the project. It feels like it's really important work, and we're hoping to be able to share it in the local area with the people that we're photographing. I'm also currently planning a new project, and it's quite interesting to actually sit down and plan ahead of doing something rather than just diving in like I normally do. So that's something I'm going to be starting on this year.